OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Zuri Bender.
And I'm Ali Yamashita.
In our show this time, we'll cover the opening of the offices of the Energy Accelerator on Bishop Street last week.
The ceremony was attended by Senator Brian Schatz, Connie Lau, CEO of HEI, parent of Hawaiian Electric, and Don Lippert of the Accelerator.
Don Lippert opened the proceedings and set the stage for the remarks to follow.
Our Energy Accelerator headquarters. You folks are actually the first people to see this in its finished form, or actually almost finished. We're always putting finishing touches on, and we expect the space to evolve as we evolve also. My name is Don Lippert. I'm the director of the Energy Accelerator. We're the Energy Accelerator. We're a startup program that helps startups change the world, starting right here in Hawaii. And the reason for that is that Hawaii is such a fantastic test bed for energy innovation. I think many of you know that as well. And our approach to innovation is a place-centered approach. So what that means is that we look at all the challenges of this place related to energy, so affordability, dependence on fossil fuels, the fact that we import so much of our energy. And we look for innovation and entrepreneurs that can solve those specific problems. And we take a very systems approach to this problem. So we look at our whole transportation system as a system of how we move people around, and we look for solutions that will work within our system. We look at our grid as an energy system with buildings and all kinds of different assets, and look for technologies that can really be impactful in that system. Many of the folks that will be coming through this space I think will feel like it's their space, because it really is. This is a community space that's for the people that are helping our entrepreneurs, either as mentors or partners or industry professionals, as well as for our entrepreneurs and our team that's working to make this a real success. So that's the key of kind of what we're doing at the Energy Accelerator and trying to bring this kind of innovation and innovative thinking to the energy system and really to the public here as well, because energy touches all of our lives, whether it's in an electric bill or in a small business. We think it's incredibly important to the Hawaii economy.
We then heard remarks from Senator Brian Schatz. The senator has long been a major advocate for clean energy in Hawaii.
I'd like to ask Senator Brian Schatz to say a few words. And we specifically invited him here today because he's been such a leader in helping move forward clean energy in the state, from his position as lieutenant governor and before that, all the way through now to his role as a U.S. senator. He's been a huge supporter of innovation and of really bringing people together to make clean energy happen. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Senator Brian Schatz.
Thank you to Don. Thank you to Maurice, to Connie, and everybody else who has made this day happen. It occurs to me that many of you have heard me talk about energy before. And we've all heard Connie speak on energy, and we've all talked to each other about energy. But I think what has changed is that we have moved from the aspirational to the physical. We have moved from the talking point to the company. We've moved from the sort of proposal to the appropriation. And that's what this day is all about. That's what this space is all about. It's real now. It's real enough that there was $55 million worth of investment. It's real enough that the Office of Naval Research and Ray Mabus, the Secretary of the Navy, is aware of what is happening in Hawaii and specifically aware of what is happening with the Accelerator, partly because I told him about it. But it's real in the sense that the other branches of the Department of Defense, the other branches of the service, are interested in doing similar things to what the Navy is up to. Certainly, the Department of Energy and the partnership that Connie and the previous two, I should say, our current governor and the previous governor moved forward with in terms of the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. It's real now. And I remember the numbers. I remember the renewable portfolio standards debate in the legislature. and whether they were going to be mandatory or not, and net energy metering, which I know is giving Connie many headaches. But all of those debates have now moved into a very practical space, and we're still going to have debates, but it's not about whether we're going to move forward with clean energy. It's exactly how. It's how fast. It's how we maximize the benefit for local companies and our local economy and local ratepayers. And then, excitingly, it's also how we take this idea of a test bed and make it real. And I will tell you that, and Don has experienced this, there are now other cities and states that want to know not just what we're doing generally in the state of Hawaii with clean energy, and there are energy resource coordinators and public utilities commissioners that are listening to us. Even though we beat each other up, we're considered hotshots when we go to the mainland and talk about what we're up to. And I think it's really exciting, and it's because of the work that gets done. It's actually not because of these three people. It's because of all of you people and the people who work for your great companies. And I think that's the difference, is that now we're in full-on implementation phase. I've got to fight policy fights in Washington having to do with appropriations and having to do with national energy policy. But we're one of the very few places where there's a true consensus about the need to move forward. We're going to have our difficulties and our disagreements in terms of what, how, when, and who. But we understand the opportunity that has presented itself in terms of moving to clean energy, because it's now not aspirational. It's real. There are jobs, there is ratepayer savings, and there is investment happening, and it's because of all of you. Certainly from my standpoint in the Senate, this is one of my very highest priorities, is to try to continue to bring federal resources home for projects such as this, and not just projects such as this, but this project. And I'll continue to work with Dawn and all of you in any way that I can, in any way that's appropriate, to make sure that this effort and all of your companies succeed, because we're all depending on you. So thank you.
Connie Lau, CEO of HEI, parent of Hawaiian Electric, followed with comments about the new collaboration between Hawaiian Electric and the Energy Accelerator.
This space itself, the Energy Accelerator headquarters, I mentioned, is a community space. So it's for our entrepreneurs, also for others in our community. And the space is made possible by our corporate foundation partners, who are Hawaiian Electric Industries, Hawaiian Electric Company, and American Savings Bank. And we have Connie Lau here, the CEO of Hawaiian Electric Industries.
Today really marks the day where we know that it is all reality. But to a large extent, Don, Maurice, all had the vision that the energy picture in Hawaii really does have to be a collaborative, community-based effort. If you think about the announcements that our companies filed earlier in the week, that's exactly the vision that is reflected. That it isn't only about one company being able to supply the power for Hawaii or to try to help us get off of oil. It has to be a community-wide effort. And Don and Maurice saw this vision years ago and actually had been working very quietly, or maybe not so quietly, but quietly to actually make it a reality. And so when I look at some of the companies that are represented in the Energy Accelerator portfolio, Mike Pfeffer is here from IBIS today. I mean, that's all about energy efficiency, and we know that energy efficiency, frankly, isn't something that the utility company can make happen throughout a community. It's got to be the community that makes that happen. And so the adoption of the IBIS technology is something that can be done in any small business, in any home, and we can all be a part of making clean energy happen for Hawaii. I think you also have the shifted energy folks here today as well. And that's something that I'm particularly interested in because it's all about grid interactive water heating. You know, Senator Schatz talked about, is net energy metering giving me headaches? Well, yes, but I'll also tell you, net energy metering gave us the tremendous solar penetration that we have today. and the tremendous advancements that have been made in rooftop solar, where 11% of Hawaii customers have rooftop solar. I mean, that's multiple times in excess of what you've got in some of the states, even like California, that have been leading the nation in clean energy. So yeah, it gives us headaches, but the reason it gives us headaches is because it has been so successful in encouraging the development of rooftop solar, so that now we actually have to worry about the grid, because we don't just have a little bit of rooftop solar that we can just absorb into our big grid. We actually have a lot of solar. We are well over 20% variable renewable generation on several of our island grids. That's far in excess of anywheres in the United States. And some of the grids are actually already over 50%. And we're suggesting that this community, if we all get together, can get over 65%. That is stunning. You talk about thinking about the RPS, the Renewable Portfolio discussions years ago, when people even thought we were nuts going to the 40% on power and 70% including energy efficiency. I mean, now we're saying actually that there has been all this progress, and based on all this progress, it should give us the confidence that we can get even further ahead. But we all need to get together. And what I love about this particular space is the collaborative space, the idea that it is a place where the community can come together, where our engineers can also come and meet with the young entrepreneurs, listen to their ideas. And I'll tell you, there's one other major aspect of this particular accelerator for Hawaii. Senator Schatz mentioned about on the mainland. The Department of Energy recently initiated a Clean Energy Innovation Initiative to actually look at these clean energy accelerators across the nation and to spread that. And do you know that although Don submitted for a grant, we didn't get picked? And part of the reason for that is we are so far ahead. So they actually want our model. I mean, we're going to have to get Senator Schatz to argue stronger for that money to come to us so we can push it even further ahead. But that's actually one of the reasons that we weren't chosen as one of the pilots. So that's the ironic thing, is across the rest of the nation, they're actually at the stage of piloting these accelerators, whereas we actually have an accelerator that is up and running. And I met the woman who runs the accelerator in the Midwest. And so I asked her, does she know Dawn? And are you aware of the Energy Accelerator in Hawaii? And she told me, I'm very aware of them. And actually the real benefit of Hawaii's Energy Accelerator is that you can actually test some of the technologies that we can only dream about and can only think about in concept. And so I've actually referred some of my companies to Dawn, because in Hawaii, you are so far ahead and clean energy is such a reality that you have a real test bed. And that is what distinguishes Hawaii across the entire nation. It's actually already happened to a large extent here, and we have the potential to make it even happen further, and to actually make a lot of people who think, even 33% clean energy is a lot, that we can go even double that here in Hawaii and demonstrate that for people not only in the U.S., but across the world. And particularly, DOD is very interested in that, because they have really been leaders in clean energy too. So our companies are very, very proud to be partnering with the Energy Accelerator. We're really glad to have been able to have this space become a reality, but it's really been the partnership over these past few years that has allowed the actual testing of a lot of these technologies to help make the clear point that Hawaii is a leader and will remain a leader in clean energy. Thank you all.
The group in attendance then had a chance to weigh in on the opening of the Excelerator and to ask questions about the way forward.
Where the entrepreneurs come from, some of them are locally born and raised, but you also said some of them are coming from outside Hawaii. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of the things, this has been an evolution for us of developing the Energy Accelerator. This is our 5th year now, and we've learned a lot as we've gone through this process. And I like to think that we've gotten better with each iteration based on the feedback we've gotten. One of the really important things that we did starting about 2 years ago was begin to mix our local entrepreneurs with entrepreneurs from off-island. And the reason we did this was we realized that many of the local entrepreneurs didn't have the same amount of experience raising private funding or doing other things as entrepreneurs off-island. And many of the entrepreneurs from the mainland didn't have the kind of experience our local entrepreneurs had in sort of understanding Hawaii culture and really getting things done here. So the blend of the entrepreneurs has been incredibly important to sort of like lifting the entire pool, I think. So we have entrepreneurs mentoring each other, working together, becoming friends, in some cases even introducing each other to their investors, and seeing a lot of synergy there. So for us, it's been a really important step in helping sort of raise the whole level of the conversation with entrepreneurs here.
The Accelerator and what it is doing and can do for clean energy research and entrepreneurship in Hawaii is an important and iconic organization. Likewise, the opening of this downtown office is important and iconic. ThinkTech was glad to be there and hear what people were saying.
Since we have the growth program, those are like later stage companies, and we really intensely look at the team that runs that company because they actually have a track record because their company has been going for a longer period of time. So we can really look at the team and how, if they've had past exits or if they've worked with certain startups or have relationships with strategics and great investors, then we think the success rate will be a little bit higher for those.
Like Scott and I are in the same class. And so after we talked for a little bit, we figured out, hey, there's this joint project in our space that we did. We both got paid for it. So we had revenue by working together and both meeting what our companies will do. So there's a lot of synergy when you get entrepreneurs together.
For me, today, each of these milestones is just one more milestone where we're trying to go. And I definitely don't feel like, oh, hey, we arrived, we're there. I mean, this is something very big we're building. It's something very long term. And this is a really important milestone in going where we're going, but we're not done. We have a very deep partnership with the Navy. It goes from the Office of Naval Research all the way to the top, Secretary Mabus. We have a very deep partnership with our political officials here from Hawaii, and it's not just because we get sort of like political support. It's because they really understand what we're doing. It's the future. We have a very deep partnership with Hawaiian Electric Industries. They're a key customer for many of the clean energy companies. They're a key enabler and provide access to customers across the state for energy. So we have a very deep partnership with them that's not just about this space alone. It's really about sort of a long-term incorporation of innovation into our state's energy future. But these are very deep partnerships that ultimately really benefit our entrepreneurs because energy is a systems problem and we need a systems solution where all of these partners are really contributing together to make it happen. Don't take a job, make a job. Become an entrepreneur. The future is wide open. The barriers to entry of being an entrepreneur are lower than they've ever been. We have the cloud, we have internet, we have tools, we have accelerators, we have sources of capital, we have crowdfunding, we have sort of co-working spaces. There are things now in our ecosystem that make it easier to be an entrepreneur than ever before. That doesn't mean it's easy to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean it's easy to succeed. But I would say, take a chance, see if it works.
The point is that clean energy research and entrepreneurship is alive and well in Hawaii. Collaboration between Hawaiian Electric and the Accelerator is happening and promising.
At this point in our statewide transformation in energy, it's great to see this kind of collaboration right here in Bishop Street. The new technology that will emerge could change everything. It's a new chapter for clean energy and a sign of good things to come.
Of course, ThinkTech is encouraged and will continue to follow the story. So stay tuned to ThinkTechHawaii.com for more videos on the subject, and take a look at energyaccelerator.org to find out what's happening in clean energy on Bishop Street. Imua.
And now, let's take a look at our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
ThinkTech broadcasts video and audio for all of our talk shows live on the internet from 1 to 5 p.m. every weekday afternoon. If you've missed a show or want to replay or share any show, they're all archived on YouTube.
Visit ThinkTechHawaii.com for our live stream and YouTube links, or to join our email list and get these links and advisories on our upcoming shows.
We also invite you to be a part of our live audience at our downtown studio in Pioneer Plaza. Contact Jay at ThinkTechHawaii.com. Raise your awareness in every way on ThinkTech.
Then on Wednesday, September 24th, ThinkTech will present another luncheon panel downtown forum. We're calling it The Press Weighs In on a New Era in Hawaii Politics. It'll feature a variety of political reporters, columnists, and analysts. This program will be at Laniakea, so sign up at thinktechhawaii.com.
And now, here's this week's ThinkTech commentary.
I'm Donna Blanchard, and this is a ThinkTech commentary. I'd like to talk about September 11th. Another one has come and gone. I'm appalled by anyone who capitalized on that date or used it to draw attention to themselves, so forgive me if this feels like I'm squeezing something for myself out of 9/11. I just need to say this. I and a coworker were trying to schedule a meeting, looking at our calendars. How about Thursday? Sounds good, I said. Then he confirmed the date, and it suddenly didn't sound so good anymore. I cringe every time I hear that date, don't you? 13 years after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Elvis Presley recorded his first demo. Joe DiMaggio married Marilyn Monroe, and Hawaii was beginning to become a state, whether it wanted to or not. I'm guessing that everyone still cringed when they made a lunch date for December 7th. I'm guessing those who remember it still do, but life was getting back to normal, right? Also in 1954, President Eisenhower proposed that all convicted communists should be stripped of their U.S. citizenship. The CIA built a tunnel from West Berlin to East Berlin. The first atomic submarine was launched, and we continued to test nuclear weapons on the Marshall Islands. So much fear and defensiveness and bravado, name-calling and pride. Those are the things I remember about September 11th. It's a blur of such detail still, so much detail of so many moments that we all share. It's blurry because it's so very overwhelming. I remember my angry neighbors and friends saying horrible things loudly and with signs in their yards. It was how they coped with such devastation on our land. But I also remember family and love, talk of priorities among what-if scenarios, quiet conversations centered on incredulity and hope from moment to moment. In 1954, Albert Einstein said that God was a childish superstition, and then we signed a mutual defense pact with Japan, and both Oprah Winfrey and Howard Stern were born, proving that not only does God exist, but he has a marvelous sense of humor. Have we learned lessons? And are we stronger and wiser as a result of that which did not kill us? I think I am. Are you? Collectively, well, I believe we are, and that continues to give me hope from moment to moment. The next time I hear that horrible date, I'll try to remind myself of that hope, along with the inevitable cringe. I'm Donna Blanchard, and this has been a ThinkTech commentary.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech. But first, we want to thank our underwriters. Okay, Ollie, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech. Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 several times every week. You can't get enough, just like Jay Fidel. For additional times, check out OC16.tv.
Definitely, Zuri. For lots more ThinkTech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on ThinkTech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a guest or a volunteer, a producer or intern, and help us reach Hawaii.
Thanks so much for joining us on ThinkTech and for supporting tech, energy, diversification, and globalism in Hawaii. You can watch this show throughout the week and tune in next Sunday evening for our next important weekly episode. I'm Zuri Bender.
And I'm Ali Yamashita. Aloha, everyone.
My name is DJ. I'm growing up with ThinkTech.